Hey guys, today we are doing my favorites. I love doing this video for you every month. So we're going to be talking about my August favorites, and you guys are going to be watching this in September. I am pre-filming this because I'm away at the end of August, beginning of September, and I cannot believe that we're already in September. It's crazy. It's crazy. Anyway, let's dive right into it. I'm going to start with two non-beauty things, and then the rest is all makeup. So Dean Davidson sent me their Form Huggies from their latest Form collection. Look at how pretty these are. You guys know how much I love Dean Davidson Huggies. I love this latest style. They're a really nice weight too. I don't know if you guys can tell. Really, really nice weight. And then they have this beautiful, here. Why don't I take it off and actually show you up close the details. Isn't that so pretty? It looks kind of like a shell. Of course, to me, it looks like a pastry. I think it is so beautiful. And it's just a subtle change from like the Dune Huggy hoops that I always wear. These just are a little bit, you can see they get a little bit thicker at the bottom, and then they have the carvings in there. It's just so beautiful. I love them. And a big thank you to Dean Davidson for sending them over to me. So definitely one of my favorites. I've been wearing these pretty much nonstop, like the past couple of weeks. And then the other favorite I want to mention is this dress from Cause. So I did a fashion try on haul for you guys, so you've seen me in this, you know, from head to toe. But I traveled with this. I just wear it all the time. I feel like if I want to just look a little spiffier, not necessarily like dressed up to go out to like a really nice dinner, but not too schlubby, like this is perfect. It just looks like a summertime dress. And the lace gives this a slight elevation, but not too much. So I just really like it. I think you could wear it with sneakers. I think because it's white, it really looks like kind of like an outfit for brunch kind of a thing. And I think you can wear it with, like I was saying, sneakers. I like wearing it with my white Chanel dad sandals. Yeah, it's really fun and it's really easy to wear. And I don't feel like I said, it's not too dressy and it's not too schlumpy. So anyway, I've just been loving it. This is probably one of my favorite pieces from that particular haul. So before I get into my favorites, I do want to mention, if you want to check out some of my favorite perfumes as of late, check out my blog. I'll link it down below. It's always actually linked in my description box. Definitely sign up for the newsletter if you're interested. I usually announce when I put a new blog post up on my newsletter, so you'll see that. And yeah, I talk about like this fall transition season, which, you know, it can be challenging, I think, for dressing, but in terms of like beauty and perfume, I really love transitional times because I feel like you can kind of dabble and have your feet in like two different worlds. So I like that with my fragrances, like a little bit of lightness, a little bit of depth, and I feel like you get this really nice fall transition fragrance. So anyway, check that out. That's on my blog. But let's go ahead and get into my favorites. So typical thing that I do here, I put as many of the favorites on my face as possible. So I'm going to cut away to those so you can get an idea of how the products actually wear, how they apply, how they look. And I'm going to start with foundation. So nothing new here. In fact, I'm pretty much sounding like a broken record at this point, but the Dr. Jart BB Premium Beauty Balm, that's what I have on today. It's just for like an everyday, like light foundation. It's a tinted moisturizer. It's just perfect. It's just what I reach for. I like sift through my foundation drawer and I'm like, I'll just put on the Dr. Jart. I love it. And I usually get, because I have so much makeup, I usually get bored of makeup pretty quickly. You know, I'll like move on to the next thing, a new product comes out, I get like swept away in all the excitement. But this has really, really stayed tried and true and has been a favorite for months. I've been wearing this for months now. And this, I feel like I've been wearing ever since it came out, but I did want to mention the Surratt Dewdrop Foundation because I did bring this to Knoxville in Rhode Island when I went to the wedding, and I was like, well, that really just says something. It's like when I'm going to a wedding, when I want to look really flawless, and it was an outdoor daytime wedding, so you really want your skin to look good, this is the one that I reached for. So this doesn't have a ton of coverage, but I just find it just a little, I don't know, like I associate this with being more dressed up, and this is more of a casual everyday thing. I don't know. That could just be in my head. But this does have a very light coverage, but it's just so perfecting. You guys have heard me go on and on about this one, but love it. And I use a shade 3, and in Dr. Jart, I use a shade Fair Light. All right, concealer. You guys, This past month was the month of concealer, the Surratt Dewdrop Concealer. So you just heard me talk about the Dewdrop Foundation. That has been my favorite. In fact, that's my all-time favorite foundation. It has been for a very long time, ever since it came out. And when they came out with this Dewdrop Foundation, I nearly pooped my pants. I was so excited. I was like, what? Like a concealer version of that foundation? Please sign me up. So again, I use a shade 3 and I have it underneath my eyes today. It is flawless. I can wear it over any foundation I've tried. It looks great. I have put it on without any foundation when I just feel like, let me just kind of spot conceal, a few things on my face, and then I'm ready to go. It's flawless. It blends out perfectly. The shade number 3 works great for my skin tone, so I can just kind of blend it out. I don't have to even out like my entire face. I can really spot conceal with this, blend it out, and it looks incredible, incredible. And I don't have to powder it. I feel like, if I don't set it down with powder, it still wears beautifully. It's long wearing and it doesn't do anything funny. I can powder over it. It doesn't start to look dry. Like it's such a good concealer. It's so, so good. So it has a sponge tip applicator, and then you just twist it to get some product out, and it's just fantastic. I just use 3 dots underneath each eye. I would say this has like a medium full coverage. It is really, really effective when I just use 3 dots. So yeah, I would say it's like a medium full coverage. And you guys know how much I love the Dior Forever Skin Correct Concealer. This has knocked it out of first place. This is now my #1 concealer. I love this so much. Dior is a very close second. I still love Dior, but this is #1. This is the one that I took to the wedding. This is the one it's just out on my vanity. This is just the one that I use now. So I love it. I love it. Check it out. I do have a coupon code at Surratt Beauty. It's Michele15. If you like 15% off, it's wonderful. Okay. So next, let's talk about this oldie but goodie. I mean, it's not that old, but it's not brand new. So this is the Makeup by Mario Soft Sculpt Transforming Skin Enhancer in Light. Now, I basically rediscovered this in my collection when I was doing a latte makeup look. So what I was trying to do was create dimension, which can be challenging if you're doing a monochromatic look because it's like all like one shade. And so I was like, okay, I want some cream products, I want some powder products, for eyes and highlighter. I wanted some like a little bit more shimmer or whatever. And so I pulled this out and I was like, all right, well, let's see, we'll play around with this. I just fell in love with this all over again. I mean, I remember really enjoying this when I first got it, but now I just love it. I just put it on. This is another thing that I brought to the wedding, and it just adds just enough, like it says, right? Soft Sculpt Transforming Skin Enhancer. Yeah, it's a very, very soft application. Again, this is a shade light, so yes, it would not be quite as soft if I was using a deeper shade, but this shade on me is just this soft touch of contour, a soft touch of bronze, and it just adds a little bit of dimension to my face after applying like foundation or tinted moisturizer or whatever. So I've really been enjoying this, and the texture is really great. This is a cream product, if you didn't catch that. This is a cream product. I just use like a dense foundation brush. I've been using my Bobbi Brown full coverage face brush. I just twirl it in a little bit and then I pat where I want it, and then I kind of, softly blend out. And it's so easy. So it's so, so beautiful. So yeah, I've been loving this, loving it. All right, for blushes, let's start with the one that I did not put on my face. So this is the Chanel Blush Harmony in 797. You guys are, I'm sure, not surprised that I'm mentioning this. The full name is Beige et Coral Blush Harmony, and this is part of the Fall/Winter 2023 collection for Chanel. The other shade that it came out in is like this deeper plum shade. That looked very pretty, but I was more drawn to this because of that kind of terracotta hint to it, and it is beautiful. And I've worn this for you guys plenty of times, which is why I decided to put on the other blush today. But let me do a swatch of this because it's just really pretty. It just looks like a beautiful flush. Isn't that nice? And the texture is really, really lovely. It blends out beautifully. Chanel really plays around with their formulas. Sometimes they're baked, sometimes they're not, sometimes the powders are a little bit harder, sometimes they're a little bit softer. This one is a very like Goldilocks situation. It is like a pressed powder. It's not like a baked powder, so it's easy to pick up, but it's not super soft. I remember one of their bronzers way back. Which one was it? I think it had like a nautical theme. Anyway, that bronzer, it was so soft. It was like you put your brush into it and it was just so much kick up. And I was like, wow, it was beautiful, but you had to be really, really careful. I don't feel that way with this. It has a great level of pigmentation. I just, put my brush in, apply. It's just wonderful. And I love, love, love like the flush that it gives my cheeks. Very, very natural for my skin tone. So that is the Blush Harmony in 797. The blush that I have on, I can't stop using these. These actually remind me of, and they remind me of this other blush because of like the feeling that I get when I use this blush, when I talk about this blush. So the other blush that I'm referring to are the RMS Redimension Hydra blushes. Is that the full name? The baked ones in the square white refillable packaging from RMS. I mean, beautiful, right? I still love those blushes and they're baked. These are a pressed powder like version of them, and I can't stop wearing these. These are the Bare Minerals Gen Nude Highlighting Blush, and this is in Pink Glow, and that's what I have on my cheeks today. Really, really light shade, as you can see. Imparts a very beautiful, beautiful highlight. You, of course, have to love a glowy cheek to really enjoy these. If you like a matte cheek, these are not for you. Absolutely not for you. And then this shade is Peach Glow. So this is the other shade that I've been reaching for. This is the one that I used in my trying new makeup video when I discovered these basically for like the first time. So these are not a new product. As far as I understand, these are not a new product from Bare Minerals, but they had deeper shades. All the shades they just recently came out with are a little bit on the lighter side. I thought that they would probably end up being kind of like highlighters, even though they were calling them blushes. No, they're too pigmented, at least on my skin tone. They're too pigmented to be highlights, just highlights. They definitely work as a blush. But I love these. And you guys, if you miss the Becca blushes, do you remember how their blushes used to be super glowy and they were, like really pigmented and soft or whatever? These remind me of the Becca blushes. So if you liked those, you may want to check these out. I don't think these are quite as pigmented. I don't find these as difficult to use as the Becca ones. I remember I had to, almost like that Chanel bronzer, I had to be really careful about how much product I picked up. Otherwise, it was like clown cheek city. So anyway, these are a definite favorite from this past month. Okay, again, at the risk of sounding like a total broken record, the Westman Atelier Liquid Super Loadeds. These are incredible. I have Pot de Pêche on my cheeks today as a highlight, but I can't shut up about these, so I feel stupid even even talking about them with you here. But there's 3 shades: Pot de Pêche, Pot de Rosé, and Pot de Soleil. The Pot de Soleil has like a bronzy tint to it. The Pot de Rosé is the coolest. It has like a cool undertone. It's what I like to use underneath my eyes as an under eye primer. Gorgeous. Pot de Pêche is sort of like the shade I use sort of all around. So I use it as a highlight. I will use it mixed in with foundation if I want. The Pot de Soleil I'll also mix into foundation if I want to deepen it up a little bit, but the Pot de Pêche is sort of like my standard. And so, yeah, I just really, really love it just as highlight. It's very, very subtle. It's very beautiful. It has just a really pretty, like soft satin kind of subtle sheen to it. Very nice. I thought this was a really nice compliment to the blush because the blush is so glowy. I was like, if I want to one up the blush, I'll just be like, beep, beep, beep. Like it would just be way, way too bright. So anyway, love these, love those. You've heard me talk about them. I have a blog post on them. Gorgeous. Nothing new for eyebrows, nothing new for mascara, but I do have a lot of eyeshadow. Are we surprised? Not really. I feel like the big palette is back. I feel like we've been dogging the big palette for a while now. Not that long, just a little bit. I want to say maybe the past year and a half. And I, just personally, my taste, my style, I do like single shadows or duos or quads, at most. For me, that's usually like enough. But I have a couple of large eyeshadow palettes to discuss with you today. The Natasha Denona I Need a Nude eyeshadow palette. I feel like this needs no introduction. I feel like every beauty YouTuber probably talked about this palette, swatched it for you, demoed it for you. It is gorgeous, gorgeous. I love the mattes. I love the shimmers. There's like 2 or 3 new finishes in here. The shade Sheen, this guy, works beautifully as a highlighter. I probably should have done that today. I forgot. It works beautifully as a highlighter. And in fact, I hope she turns this into a large single pan of highlight and maybe comes out with a whole range of this particular formula, because it's a newer formula. I think she describes it as like a glossy, wet effect finish. And it's, yeah, it's stunning. So this is definitely a favorite. It's probably gonna show up in my like a best of 2023. And then the other palette I wanted to talk about is the Isom number 2, sorry, I'm trying to open it up, Intensity palette. I've already talked about the like all matte eyeshadow palette that appeared in one of my favorites maybe like a few months ago. I continue to use that. I think it's absolutely beautiful. But this one, I remember I did not start using for a while. And when I started using it, I couldn't put it down. These are all shimmer shades. So these have a soft shine, and then the 2 bottom rows have more of a metallic shine to them. Like this is more of like a high intensity satin shade, but these shadows are so gorgeous. I used this one today, this like light pink shade, but this whole row I go pretty hard with, you can probably tell. This shade as well. And wait, there's one more. This brown I like to use. They're gorgeous. They're absolutely gorgeous. I love the level of shine that they give. I love I'm at a loss for words, but like the evenness of the application of the shine. Like sometimes, I don't know, like shiny shadows can look a little piecey. They can almost look like they're glittery when they're not. But these don't. These just have like a smoothness, I guess you could say. It's just a smooth, even application of the pigment, and it's incredible. It is absolutely divine, this palette. So I had to shout this out. And oh, you know what I do want to mention too? I did an Isom brush collection collab with Isom where I picked out, basically curated my favorite eyeshadow brushes from Isom. And they have brought that brush collection back out. I'm so excited. So they had to substitute one brush because one brush that I picked, they actually discontinued. But otherwise, it's the original brush collection that I curated for them. And I am so excited they brought it back out. I will link to it down below along with everything else I'm talking about. But one of my favorite brushes, the W36 brush, is of course part of the collection. This is the brush that I use to flick. I used it today actually to add like that deeper matte shade from the nude palette in. So good. This brush is such an essential. I love it. So those 2 eyeshadow palettes, and then the single eyeshadows from Chantecaille. Talk about like a total swing in the opposite direction. These singles from Chantecaille, part of their fall collection, I love. The one shade that I've been going for a lot is Roan. I think you guys corrected me on my pronunciation. I was calling it Rowan, and you're like, no, it's just Roan. So this Roan shade I do have on basically like between the Isom palette and the Natasha Denona palette. I have it like on the center of my lid. This is, if you want to do the latte look, this is it. This is the latte shadow, I think, that you need to have. It has just a little bit of a satin sheen to it. It is not quite as shimmery as the Pinto shade. This one has like a silvery kind of reflect. You can probably see it. It's gorgeous. They're all really gorgeous, but the one shade that I really have been going for hard is the Roan shade, this guy. And then there's 2 mattes. If you guys have not seen this collection, look at the packaging. I want this as like a huge poster in my home. But anyway, these are the matte shades. So this one is Palomino and this one is Bay. And I'll of course throw up some swatches of all these, but just gorgeous. Gorgeous. I love it. So is that all the eyeshadows I wanted to talk about? Yeah, I think so. Oh no, sorry, one more, because I did bring this to the wedding. This is the Suku Liquid Luster Eyes in shade, I believe 02. Yes, 02. So I actually featured shade 101 in last month's favorite, and it was basically like a silvery toned one. This one is more of a gold tone, and I've just been reaching for this one. So here it is, swatched. It just has the most incredible like vinyl kind of finish to it. You think it's sheer, but then you're like, oh no, it's not that sheer, but it gives the appearance of being sheer. There's something really unique about the reflect of these liquid luster eyes. It's just, it like tricks your eye into thinking like you're seeing through it, but you're not really. I mean, they're not like super opaque, I don't want to say, but they're not, I don't know. It's like you have to experience them for yourself because they're just not what you think at first. You know, you really have to like sit there and inspect it, especially when you put it on your eye, you know, because your eye is like, it's rounded and you're blinking and it's like, what's going on up there? They're just really, really cool. So I love the shade 02. I love the 101 as well, but the 02 I've really been reaching for quite a bit. It's a little bit more of a, you know, natural kind of look. The 101, because it's silver, is a little bit more glitzy. But yeah, I wore this to the welcome party at the wedding, and I did get a few compliments on it. Even though I was in a completely dark room, it was like anytime the light caught me, you know, people complimented me on my eyeshadow. So wanted to mention that. And that is it for eyeshadow, but I did want to mention the Laura Mercier Caviar Eyeliner Pencil. So these are like newly reformulated from Laura Mercier, and I've been wearing the shade Bronze nonstop. Of course, I still love my Hourglass Voyeur waterproof gel eyeliner in Cave, but that one is like a very deep, dark, like chocolate brown. This is a little bit different. You know, it is a little bit cooler, and there's just like the slightest bit of a metallic sheen to it. And I know when it comes to eyeliner, it's like, can you really see like the difference? I mean, maybe you can't really see unless you're up close. You can't really see the metallicness of it, but you will definitely be able to like sense like a different tone. And I like that this is a little bit cooler toned. It just, I don't know, it's been working with like the eyeshadows that I've been wearing or whatever. Yeah, it's just the one I've been reaching for. The Laura Mercier Caviar Eyeliner Pencil in Bronze. Okay, that's it for eyes. Lips. Let me start with what I have on my lips. And this is the Isom lip palette, the Nuance lip palette. Guys, I just, you know, I've never ever been a big lip palette person. I don't know, I just feel like I'm not gonna use a lip brush, or that's not like a habit of mine. It's not like I'm against it in any way, shape, or form. I'm just not in the habit of using a lip brush, even though it's very helpful in the application of lipstick. Like you can get a really clean line with a lip brush. But anyway, I'm just, you know, not in the habit of using one. And so I've never really like gotten into lip palettes, and they always seem to get really kind of messy. But most of all, it's usually the formula. The formula is either too dry or too gooey. The formula that Isom has created is so good. It's so, so good. So it's what I have on my lips, and I have a mixture of these two. So I started with the Isom dual lip liner in nude, and I used the lighter side. I lined my lips. Again, if you're looking to do like a latte look no further. This lip liner in nude to start, and then with my finger, I just went ahead and I applied that, and then I just tapped this on just a little bit because the lip liner is a little bit deeper than this shade, and I didn't want that kind of like ombre look. I wanted just like a solid lip color, and so I just tapped maybe like 2 or 3 times. I just tapped this right on, smushed my lips together, and then it just sort of like evened everything out. So good. My lips are not dry, very, very comfortable, but you know, because Isom is for makeup artists, it's not a super shiny lip. It's just a very natural lip. I don't want to say it's matte. I don't want to say it's soft matte. It's just natural. It's just a natural finish to my lips. I love it. I love this lip palette. I'm like, wow. There are really only like 2 or 3 lip palettes that I have recommended and really enjoy, and this is one of them. So, so good, especially if you want to like play around with colors, or if you are that person that like, no matter how many lipsticks you buy, you just cannot find the perfect shade. You want to get a lip palette like this and just play around. It's so much fun. You can mix up different shades like onto the back of your hand and then apply it. Or what I like to do is just apply it onto my lip and just kind of add and smush together and add and smush together. And it's just a lot of fun. And it's just great. And the formula is wonderful. So that's the Isom Nuance Lip Palette. And then I have these to mention. So the Ritual Defy Thorn Bite Peptide Plump Creme Lip Oil, very long name. I have the shade Rose Bloom. This is such a beautiful, like chocolate coffee brown. It is so nice. And the formula, oof, is so, I mean, it's a creamy oil. It's like the perfect name for it, a creme lip oil. It's so comfortable. It's so well pigmented. You know, it's not like super duper pigmented, but it's not like super thin either where it's like a tinted gloss. No, it's more than that. It's just lovely. I really have been enjoying Ritual Defee's products they've been coming out with, like their foundation, still incredible. That foundation I still love. But this is, yeah, this is great. So wanted to recommend this because the formula is great and I love this color. It actually reminds me of a Victoria Beckham lip gloss. I think it's called Tan Lines. I meant to look it up because I mentioned this in my trying new makeup video. I was like, this reminds me of that Victoria Beckham. I forgot. Anyway, Tan Lines, I think, is the one it reminds me of. And I think that's it. I think those are all of my favorites for the month of August 2023. Anyway, thank you guys so much for tuning in. Let me know some of your favorites down below in my description box. Don't forget to check out my blog and sign up for the newsletter. Subscribe down below if you haven't already, and I will see you in my next video.